What's the costliest way you've seen a boss's arrogance backfire? My friend once told me a story about his brother, and it's one of the most satisfying cases of workplace revenge I've ever heard. Let's call him Bob. Bob had been into computers since he was a kid, and he was the kind of IT guy who could solve almost anything. At the time, he was working for a service and distribution company in Ontario, Canada. There were only 2 people in the IT department, and Bob was one of them. The company decided to modernize its outdated setup. Before, they used different programs for dispatch, payroll, inventory, and finances, and moving data between them was a nightmare. Bob suggested an ERP system he knew inside and out from a previous job. This kind of system could handle everything: purchasing, sales, inventory, vendors, payroll, and more. After months of long days, Bob had trained the staff, and the system was running smoothly. Then the company expanded into different time zones. That's when the real problems began. Orders and emails were coming in from Atlantic Canada hours before the Ontario office opened, and from Pacific Canada hours after it closed. Suddenly, staff were starting earlier, finishing later, and Bob was getting calls at all hours. Management decided to stagger shifts. Bob was told he'd start at 6 a.m. and finish at 2:30 p.m., while his colleague would work later. But the other IT guy had kids and refused the schedule change. He quit. Now Bob was running the entire IT department alone, fixing hardware, supporting staff, and training every new hire on the ERP system. He asked for a raise. Denied. He asked for overtime. Management told him IT specialists were exempt from overtime under Ontario law. He checked. They were right. But Bob wasn't the only one working extra hours. The ERP system logged every single sign-in and sign-out for every employee. If someone logged in at 7:45 a.m. and logged out at 6 p.m., it was recorded. Ontario labor law says even salaried workers get overtime after 44 hours a week, unless they're managers. And a lot of these people weren't managers. Bob realized he had everything he needed. He quietly started pulling detailed reports on every non-manager employee, all the way back to when the ERP system was installed. The data showed exactly how many hours each person had worked over the legal limit. Then he spoke to an employment lawyer, confirmed everything was solid, and got permission to refer employees to the lawyer directly. Once he had another job lined up, he made his move. On his last day, he sent every eligible employee an email with an attached spreadsheet showing their total unpaid overtime hours. The subject line read, "You're legally entitled to overtime pay." Inside the email, he included the lawyer's contact information. The reaction was immediate. Dozens of employees authorized the lawyer to act on their behalf. The company was hit with a massive claim for unpaid overtime. It cost them far more than it would have if they just paid Bob fairly from the start. They could have kept a skilled IT manager, avoided a legal disaster, and maintained their staff's trust. Instead, they lost their only IT guy, had to replace him at a higher market salary, and ended up cutting huge checks to nearly every employee. Bob walked away to his new job, knowing he'd left them with a problem they couldn't ignore. All it would have taken was a little respect and fair pay. Instead, they learned the hard way that sometimes the quiet guy in the server room is the one holding all the power.